Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Well, our period of drought, it's been quite a long time, has ended with a rude awakening this morning from heavy rain. Literally this plastic roof is under my bedroom window. So I was woken for a change, not by Mojo, but it woke me and Mojo up. So I ended up getting up. Get back to sleep with that racket going on. So watering the garden, the bonsai and everything, I don't now need to do for what looks like a while, because there seems to be rain forecast over quite a number of days. Now this, like some things, like our election, was perfectly predictable because it's Wimbledon fortnight. When it's Wimbledon fortnight, we get the rain. Predictable. Anyway, from one point of view, that's good news. I've planted some new things in the garden. If you haven't seen that video, that's over on the other channel, including a bit of a look round at how things are going. And yeah, so we've got a new planted area in the garden that really was just reclaimed from weeds. Hannah had already done half of it and I've now done the other half. So we've got a new area. It's only a small area. I'm still working out what I'm going to call it. I'm reasonably certain. I asked people on the video to name the area, because you know we've got the gravel beds, we've got the planted border. Well, we've now got another bit that needs a name. So people were having a go at what they think it might need to be called, and I will choose something soon. By the next time I do a video. Well, I'm not videoing out in the garden in the rain, that's for sure. Right, well, I'm sure it's been reported all around the world. There's nothing else on the TV at the moment. Our election is virtually over. I think there's only a handful of seats not declared yet. And it now, if not before, becomes blatantly obvious why I don't vote. The people in third place, by the number of seats, got less votes than one of the other parties. That party in third place got less votes than another party. Is it sunk in? So those people in third place have got 70 odd parliamentary seats. MPs that can sit in Parliament and make silly noises like wah 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 and things like that, yeah? The party that got more votes than them have 4 seats. 4, not 70, just 4. If that's not unfair, I don't know what is, and that's why I don't vote, because all it does is perpetuate the system, and it's the system that's wrong. The party that won have got 400 plus seats, yeah, and yet have only increased their vote by a few percent. How can that be? Well, obviously they took loads of votes off the party that lost. And boy have they lost heavily. You could say deservedly so, and you might be right. I don't go down those paths. What I think we've got is a lacklustre leadership and a lacklustre set of people in the most important positions that you get on the media. There's lots of people busying away in the background that are probably great at doing their job. You don't ever see them. They work quietly in the background. The people that making all the noise just don't seem to hack it nowadays. We don't seem to have the personalities, the dynamic type people that can get people going, get people behind them. The last one, like him or hate him, was Boris. Boris could get people behind him. What unfortunately he had to put up with was he was surrounded by a bunch of tosspots who kept mucking things up and getting things wrong, and he had to try and cover for them, and he ended up telling lots of porky pies, which is not on. People see through that nowadays. So we now have a totally new government of misfits and all sorts, and I'm sure in amongst them some great people, but it means everything that the last lot have worked to try and do, this lot will now undo and try and do something else. So look at the waste of time, effort and money, our money, that's going on. Total waste of our money by changing governments. Whichever way, it doesn't matter which way, they will always try and undo most of what the previous lot did just to stamp their mark. And that's how it goes. So, it's the system that's up the Swanee. I still think one of the best systems that there can possibly be is a dictatorship. But be a nice one, you know, you can be a dictator and not be a complete hole, you know, just be a dictator, but be a nice one. What sort of country would that be? There isn't one, so you can't go and find one and say it would be like this one, because I don't think there is one. Anyway, it's done. They will still be talking about it for the next few days. Then we might get back to something else. I can't imagine there's going to be much tennis on today because I think it's too wet. Covers will be out and all that stuff. So I'm not interested in the football. Mind you, it's getting towards the final of the Euros in the football. I do sometimes watch a football match at that top level, at the high level, where all the cheating and rule bending goes out the window and they actually play the game somewhere near as it was designed to be played, in which case I can tolerate watching it. But all the ballet dancing and, you know, people diving trying to get a penalty when they're a metre away from the nearest person. I mean, tripping over your own feet. And that's cheating. At the end of the day, it's cheating. Don't care what anybody says. So they do their football training, and then behind the scenes they have their ballet dancing lessons so that they can actually pirouette nicely when they trip over. It's just nonsense, it really is, and yet that's the most popular game. Still, that's it, people are still allowed to choose. But when the media predominantly only show football, you know, if you weren't interested in football, then your sport don't come up very often, does it? So that's that. That's out the window. It's done and dusted, and we'll see what mess the next lot have a go at. You know, see how big a mess they can make. And those that have lost will sit on the other side of the gap down the middle, and they'll shout abuse and criticise. Does that do any good? It won't this time. The people that have won have got such a big majority that if they say they want to do something and all of the other parties club together, they can't outvote them. Yeah, it's not funny. They can do what they like. Let me just let You've just woken up. Come and say hello. Everybody likes to see you. Come and say hello. All bleary-eyed. He's just woken up. His nose was put out of joint this morning. He has some of his breakfast because obviously he's been shut in all night. He needs to go outside. He went flying outside, turned round and shot back in before I could shut the door because it was raining quite hard. And then decided that he really did ought to go out, so he went out and got quite wet, didn't you? Hey. Still, you soon dry off. Come on then. It's not raining now. So you're not going to go out anyway. Indecisive. Right. This is a chatty one, by the way, if you hadn't realised already. But because there's nothing to do out here today, there probably is, but I just don't fancy doing anything out here today. Which could be it could be a worry if it carries on day after day, but I just don't feel like doing anything today. So the first thing I thought was, right, we can catch up on other people's videos. Now we're on to the point of perhaps this chat. Got my watch list up. Everybody I'm subscribed to, in the order they've been posted, page after page. I couldn't find anything to watch. Well, apart from ones I watched yesterday. Nobody's posting anything. Now, okay, I'm not subscribed to anywhere near as many people as I used to be, but even people that post quite regularly, there's not much around. There's not much around. Now, okay, our biggest one is in the middle of moving house. Yeah, I can tell you all about that, especially when you've got a large orchid collection. And in that particular case, lots of cases that they're in to move as well, let alone all your own stuff, you know, stuff of life in the rest of your house. But nobody's posting much. Now, we come back to, it's the growing season, well, there's not much going on. You shouldn't really be repotting that much unless it's pretty desperate or is just the right time. Better to have got it done before it gets too warm, you know, then the shock's less. And also, because it's the growing season, not so much coming into bloom perhaps, but it's just not so much around. And it's not, don't forget I'm also subscribed to a lot of bonsai channels and a couple of gardening channels, and apart from one gardening channel, nobody's posting anything. It's a very quiet time. Now, is this worrying? Well, it could be. Are people not posting because, like me, have got nothing to post, so I, to a degree, can get away with standing here and chatting? I can't do it every day. This is an orchid channel, not a Roger channel. Yeah? So we need some orchid content here, and I'm not doing anything out here today. There's nothing new coming to bloom. In fact, I shall be cutting some blooms off in a minute because they've gone over that way round, so I'll have less rather than more. So, are you actually going to go out this time, or am I going to open the door for nothing? He has actually gone out this time. Yes, so the other thing, this is sort of going around in a bit of a circle. This happens now and again, and I'm sure it happens to other people. When I get a day like this where there isn't anything to do out here, there's some things I could be doing, I don't want to do them. I've got a day that I think is probably going to last all day where I don't actually want to do anything. So I'm up to scratch with my watering, so nothing's going to suffer as a consequence. I'm obviously not doing anything out in the garden apart from looking out the window at it, because everything's soaking wet now. And we've got more rain coming in, including some pretty heavy stuff overnight apparently, which is good for the garden. It's also cooled right down. It's not, I don't know what it is out here. 21. Yeah, so I've lost my daytime heat, which, you know, 24, 25 would be nice out here every day. But no, 21 today, and it's, you know, if the sun doesn't come out, it's not very warm outside. Temperatures drop down, you know, with the rain and that. So I've lost my temperatures, but yeah, I get days when I just don't want to do anything. I hope other people get that, and it's not just me. And I hope it doesn't last long. But I know it's there, and I'm aware of it, and I worry why. You know, but it'll pass, I'm sure. But yeah, and the fact that I don't want to do anything today means, well, what the hell am I going to do? Just sit in a chair and stare at the wall? I think that, I call it the wall, I mean the TV obviously, but it's like a wall because there's not much on there of interest. As I say, most of the channels, maybe I'll find a film and watch a film or something for a change. But I could go out. I could go out for lunch. And then I stop and think, yeah, that will cost me this amount of money and I could have the same lunch here for a quarter the price or less, and then I won't do it because I begrudge spending that amount of money. And then I could say, well, actually it's a treat. Well, when you have a treat, it's normally because you're treating yourself because, yeah, I'm having a treat and I can't think of a because. I can't think of a reason to have a treat. So going out for lunch is probably out. Yeah, so I'm just, the doldrums, if I was a sailor, this would be the doldrums, where you just sit there hoping for a breeze to kick up in the near future. Now, that breeze would be, you know, a spark of ideas. Now we come back round to you good people. The spark of ideas has often come from viewers, yeah? But it would be viewers that have stayed this long on the video to hear me mention that viewers give me some good ideas. So anybody who's bailed out because, oh, he's just chatting again, won't have got this far. You know, it's just the stalwarts, I think they're called, people who doggedly stick to things no matter what. There's lots of names for people like that, I think, but yeah, I mean, I always say thank you for people who do watch the videos, but I do sometimes get a little bit peeved with people who ask a question that is blatantly stated in the video, which means they've bailed out early and then asked a question without seeing the video. Like, what is this orchid called, when there's a pop-up? Yeah, they just didn't watch far enough in to see it. Yeah, so, you know, if you don't watch the whole video, you may miss some good bits. There isn't, I warn you now, so don't stay expecting. There could be a spotlight on an orchid on the end of this one. But if you don't stay to the end, you won't see it. Now I'm trying to encourage people to stay through a load of waffle, which I'm now going to quit. But yeah, I'm having a period that hopefully isn't going to last too long where I don't want to do anything. I don't want to go out, I don't want to do anything, I don't want to get on with any work. Just don't want to do anything. And maybe others are in a similar position, if not generally speaking, like me today, but with their orchids. If there isn't much going on, then maybe there just isn't much to film. But there's, in the people that I'm involved with, there is a distinct lack of videos to watch at the moment. Well, there's a suggestion for all you good people. Who's your favourite channel? Apart from me, of course. Yeah, who else do you watch? You could stick that in the comments. And that'll be a little bit of a boost for that channel, possibly. Especially smaller channels, they don't get much of a look in, do they? But yeah. I mean, I know there's going to be 3 that are just going to come up. They're predictable. If they're that predictable, is it worth bothering? Because I probably already watched them. But yeah, perhaps your favourite channel or channels, but more importantly for me, to encourage me to go and take a look, is why. Why are they your favourites? Is it a personality? Is it the collection? Is it where the collection actually is? Yeah? I mean, obviously there's some spectacular collections hanging up in trees and things out in people's gardens. Well, for somebody in the UK, that's not of huge interest to me as far as care tips and that sort of thing are concerned, because it's just a totally different environment. They would be of no use to me. Yeah? So, nonetheless, they might be interesting orchids, an interesting collection. Yeah, so yeah, there's an idea for you. Yeah, list your couple of favourite channels and why, and then when I get a day like this, maybe I'll go and have a look. Anyway, I think no, we thought we were going to come in, but we've decided to whack a leaf around. It's a dead leaf rolling across the patio that's now getting some of that. Now he's seen me looking at him, so he's doing the embarrassed wash. I wasn't playing, honest. Daft cat. He does still play despite his age. He's got a rope mouse made of that jute type string. So it's like a mouse shape, but it's wrapped in very coarse string and then coloured sort of thing. And he bats that around every now and again. But, apart from that, he sleeps more than anything else. Come on then. Finished playing for now, have you? Right, well, if you haven't already realised, there's no orchids going to be in this video. As I said, it's just a wonder why at the moment people aren't posting much. I noticed Ed actually bought an orchid, which he's admitted that he hasn't done that for a long time. That's something I did yesterday. I looked through the list of sellers that I've got that work online to see if there's anything I fancy, and there wasn't. That's sad. But I will be going to Burnham's, not this weekend like now, but the next weekend. I'm bound to find something, and hopefully Hannah's coming and she'll help me find something. She often does it for me. She goes round and does the looking while I end up chatting to people, and then she comes back and says, "What about this, Dad?" And we go and have a look. We'll see, but yes. The amount of losses, there is room for some more orchids, but yeah, I need to have an interest in them rather than just for the sake of it. Hopefully, and also they need to be able to work well in this environment and not struggle, otherwise it's sort of pointless really. So there we go. That is the end of the chat. Things to have a think about, why perhaps people aren't posting much at the moment. And as I said, that's not just in the orchid world, that's in the bonsai world as well. Doesn't seem to be much getting posted there. Has everybody got the doldrums, or is it just the time of year, or what? Whatever. Plus the incentive to, introduce me to some of the channels that you people like to watch. Apart from me, of course. And that would be useful. I haven't got the time or the patience to search the way that the YouTube search engine works. I end up with reams and reams of the same videos from the same few channels, and I get tired of that very quickly and end up stopping. I end up not doing it anymore. But people that have already done it, or found channels that they like a lot, let me know. I'll go and take a look and see if I can find something of interest. We shall see. And yeah, Saturday tomorrow. Might not get a video tomorrow. Depends on how I feel. And in addition to that, then we move on to Sunday, because I've actually got a weekend to myself, first time in a while. We will have the Sunday chat, by hook or by crook. And we started, the last Sunday chat had a spotlight genus on the end. There will be something on the end along those lines. I want to try and maintain that. A look at a group of orchids that are grouped together, not necessarily because of their genus, but perhaps because of their development or their progress or something. But we'll try and have a section on the end of all the Sunday chats about a group of orchids of some sort or another. Okay. Now I've got to think of that, haven't I? Anyway, all good stuff. My coffee's getting cold, and yeah, I might actually go out for lunch and blow it. It's not quite the same going out for lunch on your own, but it's nice to get waited on now and again. Nice to get treated, if you know what I mean. And there's a couple of places very local. I'd only have to sort of pop up the road. I might do that, I don't know. I might go to a garden centre and have lunch there. Kill two birds with one stone. Have a look around the garden centre and have some lunch and get me out of the house. We shall see. I'm not made up my mind yet. I know what I'm going to end up doing. I'll end up flaking in the chair and falling asleep, I suppose, because I was up pretty early this morning. Wasn't even starting to get light. Yeah, that early. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to the waffle and all that, and Thanks for being around the channel. It's you know, leaving comments and stuff. It's basically my morning routine. Cat, coffee, computer. The 3 C's. That's what I do. Unless I've got to go out at the crack of dawn for any reason, that's what I do. And I do all my YouTube stuff first thing in the morning. I'll deal with my comments and all that sort of stuff. Look stuff up if people have asked rude and impertinent questions that I don't know the answer to. Well, I'll usually go and find out if I can. Yeah, that's my sort of early morning thing. And yeah, if I don't get many comments on a video, that period of time ends up being quite short, which it did today. And then, you know, if I sort of think, well, I'll watch the news then. Well, there's nothing on the news, there's only like one main topic on the news. That hopefully will change over the next few days. And then we'll have to put up with the next big election, won't we? And the lead into that, and who's said what about who, and who's done this, and who's been arrested, and what a world we live in where our leaders are just not right. Just not right. I don't mean not right, although in one case I do. They're just not right. They don't seem to be the right people for the job. Maybe the right people just don't come forward. Debatable. See you next time. Thanks for dropping by.